I guarantee you, the next year for the Razzies, the beekeeper will probably be on
Oh
that
yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
still gonna go see it.
Oh, it was fun. It was fun. It's stupid fun. Don't get me wrong, but it was still fun. It's one of those good old dumb action films where you just sit there, do not think about anything, and just let it happen.
Oh yeah,
it'll be it'll be far more
yeah. My flight
entertaining.
back, I watched the 1966 Batman movie, and I'm like, do not think. Like every time I thought, I was like, what are you doing? Stop thinking. Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it and enjoy it here, folks. Welcome to the spoiler room. We are live here. How about that? And we were just discussing in our off after hours discussion about the Razzies and nominations and such. And if you want to hear that, don't forget to check out our Patreon. Uh, pardon, my shill is showing. I know. But tonight, yes, we continue our Scarred Faces month in the spoiler room where we're looking at films with the word Scarface in it. And I found 5 of them, folks. I did. And tonight we are looking at one of them from 1953. Yes, just as the Cold War was catching up. And I dropped that because it pertains to this movie more or less. The Cold War, 1953. We're looking at Captain Scarface. So thank you for venturing down the stairs, pulling up a chair, and popping your favorite drink with us as we talk movie spoilers. And I got a great crew with me tonight to talk about Captain Scarface from 1953. First off, he's back with us. He just flew in, and boy, is his arms tired. Sorry. None other than Joe Randazzo. Hello, Joe. How are you?
Hey everyone.
Glad to have you here. Glad you could make it to the spoiler room tonight. And with me as well, the man who keeps coming back for more. He's with us. He's slumming it with the spoiler room. It's none other than Mr. Ian Simmons. How you doing, Ian?
Very, very tired. I think Joe and I could have our own club and jackets and stuff, secret handshakes.
Oh yeah.
Tired gentlemen. So
Yeah,
okay. So
long day.
now you know what you're in for, folks. No. Yes, tonight we are looking at this 1953 starring the Viking. Who knew he lived this long so that he could actually star in a movie. Leif Erikson stars in this film. He was also a Viking. Okay, they share the same name. All right, he's not actual Viking. It stars a actor named Leif Erikson, and Leif Erikson was. Look it up. Google history, folks. Anyway, so I know you guys are tired, but Ian, would you be able to do the synopsis for Captain Scarface? If you don't feel up to it, we can pass it off to Joe, or I'll even do it.
I'm gonna give it a shot. This movie is short. It's an hour and 10 minutes long.
Yeah. This was a quick one.
Yeah. Well, no, it was an hour and 10 minutes long. I wouldn't say it was quick. It's very rare for me that I almost wrote this down. I should have, because I had the perfect turn of phrase, but it's rare that I watch a movie that is both excruciatingly boring and also very exciting. I don't know what was going on with this movie. There's a boat called the Baños, which, yes, does translate in Spanish to toilet.
It does. It does translate to toilet.
And every time they said, you got to get on board the Baños or the Baño, I was like, no. Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of people who are trying to get on this boat, and they're going to go to the Panama Canal, and they got this crazy captain named Captain Scarface, and he's got these illicit dealings with something or other, and there's like a scientist and his daughter. At one point, I actually wondered if this was like the quote-unquote straight man inspiration for the movie Top Secret, because it did very much feel like that. Yeah, it turns out there's this crazy communist plot to steer this boat through the Panama Canal and then detonate a nuclear weapon that is on board to completely disrupt capitalism and global commerce. And our hero, is that Leif Erikson? I don't know.
That is our hero, Leif Erikson.
No,
Sam. His name's Sam. So
Sam. Okay, Sam. He is.
Oh, that's right. Bart McLean is Captain Scarface. Never mind.
Yeah,
Captain Scarface. But this guy Sam, he's trying to get off this, get out of South America because he was working on a plantation and he was having an affair with the wife of the plantation owner, and it's a big scandal. So he ends up on this boat after assuming the identity of someone that was killed. And I don't know, Mark, maybe you should take this over. This movie seems like to be about 20 things and about nothing at all. I couldn't keep up.
Well, yes. So what we have here is the movie opens with an explosion of a boat called the Banos, but then we see the Banos right after that with our Captain Scarface standing on deck. And they're loading up and they're preparing to take off on a trip. Meanwhile, we are introduced to Sam, who seems to be on the run. He worked for a plantation where they were at, but after a bit of a run-in with the owner, after having his own run-in or run-on or
Run through
with the owner's wife, there was a bit of a kerfuffle of sorts that involved him getting shot and him shooting the owner, and he has to leave quickly. Meanwhile, and again, this is 1950s, folks, so just get that. We have a German scientist who shows up, who his daughter worked with a Mr. Keg, Kroll, Mr. Clegg. No, Kroll. It was Kroll that got him out. Clegg was the guy.
The henchman.
Clegg's the guy that gets shot in the beginning. Yeah.
Clegg is the one that blew up the original Banos, and Kroll is the one who he was going to meet to get paid. Kroll also negotiated to get this German scientist back to his daughter, and they're going to get back to the States. So Kroll ends up getting shot when confronting Clegg because he was going to kill him. He is a really bad hitman. Anyway, so Sam assumes the identity of Kroll, who is working with Captain Scarface, who has brought all these people on board. But it doesn't matter because Captain Scarface is a communist, and he thinks our guy Sam is Kroll, who was in on his plan to take this German scientist to arm the nuclear bomb that's on the boat for them to blow up the Panama Canal to disrupt the West's commercial lines. Everybody get that?
Sure. I get it, Mark. The movie has the name Scarface in it, but my God, we were on such a hot streak for January.
We were, and then we hit this piece of Cold War propaganda that, wow, baby, this is.
Maybe we should have watched the other Lady Scarface.
The Lady Scarface, the other Lady Scarface.
So you actually found 6 movies with Scarface in the title.
So I technically found 6 movies. Well, if you count the Lady Scarface sequels to the 2007 movie Scarface,
I didn't realize that's sequels.
Yeah, there's 3 other films. So there's Lady Scarface 2007, and there's 3 sequels, and all of them are only meant for those who, yeah. Anyway, back to Captain Scarface.
It played in theaters, but you had to wear raincoats to see it.
Yeah, and you pay that extra money, and the theater was dark, and nobody looked at one another. They just went ahead. Here, our title character, Captain Scarface. This is like Dime Store Marlon Brando.
That's a great way to describe it, yeah.
If they would have remade this, I could have seen Brando playing this character. Like later Brando. It's like Captain Scarface played by Barton McLean.
He's a great gangster movie actor from the 40s. So it's weird to see him in this kind of thing. I've never seen him as a lead. And after seeing this, I know why. He can't really carry the movie on his own.
Well, he tries to play the heavy, but it's like, it's funny when this plays out because, yes, folks, this is a spoiler room. So it's just funny how this plays out to where you're sitting there going, wait, what? Because this goes from you think they're like sea pirates just smuggling something to suddenly, no, we have a nuclear bomb on this boat. We need the scientists to activate it. We're going to blow up the Panama Canal because we're communists and we're going to take these Westerners with us. And I'm just like, What?
We're ready to die. We're ready to die for the cause. That was
Yeah.
the other big thing.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so cliche, and you can tell, like I said, the 50s, the Cold War was ramping up. Of course, it's going to deal with a nuclear bomb. Of course, it's going to deal with communists. And then Leif Erikson, our Sam character. Could this guy be any more like manly man?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was when the captain walks him in on him and the girl in the cabin during their first scene together. He like grabs her and smashes his face into hers, and then after the captain leaves, it takes a while for him to peel himself away. That was
Well, yeah, he had to show that he's a manly man who's just going to take what he wants from this girl.
Well, that's exactly it. Like it's to your point, Mark. It's every like cliche of like the 1950s, big strong guy that you could ever want to see or not see.
He's such the definition of a 50s, macho man character. I mean, he's got the broad build too. When we introduce, he shows up in this bar where the Elsa, played by Virginia Gray, who's she was in quite a number of films too, but he shows up at the bar and you're like, okay, he literally has his shirt like manly shirt. I mean, take any trope you've seen in the 50s of a manly man, and he's dressed like him, and he comes in and he's got a little bandage on his arm, and his buddy Manuel goes, "Hey man," he goes, because he's got to have an accent too, right? And he's like,
well,
well,
yeah,
no.
because he's a bartender in South America.
Yeah, yeah. So he's totally cliched bartender. His buddy Manuel, go figure.
Because he's a bartender in South America.
Well, yeah, I know, but his name had to be Manuel.
Because he's a Mark.
What?
His name had to be Jose. His name had to be Pocket. Look, I don't know what point you're trying to make here.
What I'm saying is that his buddy was your cliche bartender in South America. He could just be a guy I know. And then he shows up and he's like, "Oh, you got shot." And he's like, "Is the bullet still in there?" He's like, "No, I had it taken care of already. I just, and he's just got a little bit
squeezed it out himself.
He squeezed it out. I almost waited for him to say that he pulled it out himself
with his teeth.
With his teeth. And then his buddy Manuel's like, okay. And then you come to find out, okay, not only did he get shot by the owner of the plantation, but he shot the owner of the plantation. Oh, it was just in the leg. He'll survive.
That's why I had to get out of there tonight before he's
yeah.
When he asked him to make him a fake ID, he goes, "Oh, I can have one for you tomorrow." He goes, "No, it must be tonight." Well, shot a guy in the leg. He's going to come back to get me.
Well, when he said he shot him in the leg, he'll be okay. I was waiting for Manuel to say, "Oh, but he died." But no, the other thing is, like he said, because this guy is very powerful and connected. Apparently, he's gonna send like all of the law after our hero, so that's why he's got to get out of town. But he's still like, "Yeah, I'll just leave in the morning." I'm like, what? We've established that Manuel and Sam, or whatever his name, are great friends, and Manuel is concerned that because everyone knows they're good friends, that this can be one of the first places they stop. But there's like 12 hours between the time that this revelation happens and the time the damn boat leaves. So I don't know what it was like an urgent lack of urgency.
Well, yeah, that's right. That doesn't make sense because they did say the boat leaves tonight, but then he said he'll leave in the morning. I just realized that now because they kept saying the boat leaves tonight. He even tells the guy, "I need the fake ID tonight."
Right. Well, yeah. when he pickpockets Kroll, and says, "Hey, you can put my picture on it," because apparently Manuel just has a library of Sam's pictures handy. He goes, "You can put my picture on this, right?" Yeah, all right.
Apparently Manuel runs a little side gig where he's making fake IDs for people.
Well, Sam, because he's got his picture on file. Apparently.
Well, Sam knows he could do it, so he must have known he knows how to do this
somehow, yeah.
Because he's a bartender and no, never mind.
Yes, we get it, Ian. We get it. Okay, you're right. I'm wrong. Okay, moving on. No, just kidding. I'll just shut up now. You can talk.
No, I was joking that all bartenders in South America have like fake ID scams.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
right?
What do you need to do that? What like kind of equipment do you need? Anyway, it's not important. But yeah, it's a very strange setup, and I almost wish they'd never left that bar. That was a that was kind of an exciting scene. Just have the captain get off the boat, and then the rest of the movie just takes place at the bar.
Actually, does he ever get off the boat?
No,
I don't think I ever saw him off the boat.
the captain does not get off the boat. No.
He becomes part of the boat when that machete that went like all the way through. Spoiler, sorry.
No, it's a spoiler room. That's fine.
There are some places where I could kind of hear. I could kind of hear him almost sounding like Tony Montana in the '83 Scarface. I'm like, wait a minute, did Pacino watch the wrong Scarface movie when he was doing his first step?
Well, his accent kind of slipped in and out. He kind of hid his accent when he was talking to people, but then when he's talking to who he thinks is his buddy Kroll and saying, "Hey, we're communists, we're gonna die for the cause," suddenly he just gets this really thick accent, and then it kind of goes away, and then it comes back, and what I loved even more is the fact of they have this film, and I think the only guy who you can really like connect is Perro. I love the Perro character. His first mate, who suspects everybody. He sniffed out Sam right away as being a fake crawl. He's like, I don't like this idea of taking passengers, and the captain's like, oh, we're just taking a couple, and they got like a whole Love Boat crew. It's like, but Perro's like, yeah,
because Perro is Spanish for dog. So you got the Perro on the baño.
You got the Perro on the toilet. So I guess.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, this is, you hear about films. I'm sure some folks read about films of the 50s and just the propaganda. And this film, I mean,
yeah, this is total Red Scare propaganda. Absolutely.
Well, this guy's plan for blowing up the Panama Canal, I'm just like, what?
Well, I mean, hold on. Walk me through this, guys. Like, what is the? I get that it's a movie about communists and it came out in the 50s, but what is the problem with the plot to blow up the Panama Canal? Because I thought that was one of the cooler elements to it, like the switching the boat and all that stuff.
I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the plot. It's just it's obvious, communism scare film in a way. Like, oh, the commies are going to come after us, and they're so into the cause that they don't care if they're going to die themselves. So,
I mean, apart from the kind of kamikaze elements, I mean, it was called an existential battle with communism for a good number of decades.
Oh yeah.
No, that's true. I don't have. I think it just caught me off guard, the scope of this plan. It just felt like I did not expect that with the film Captain Scarface. And even when you read the synopsis of this, it caught me off guard that I'm like, wait, we're gonna do what? I'm just like, I thought this was just gonna be pirates and just they're gonna disrupt shipping lanes by taking out some Western supply boats or pirating them or whatever. I did not expect German scientists armed nuclear bomb to blow up the Panama Canal. That is just not something that I expected going into this film. So.
Well, I mean, but yeah, but that's the thing is there was. I mean, look at Operation Paperclip, right? The thing is, as much as this was or could be considered weird, 50s propaganda, there's a lot to this movie, because the American scientists and the Soviets wanted to get the German brain trust once the World War II was over. They didn't kill those guys. They put them to work for, building technology that we use today. So I think that's fascinating. There was a genuine mystery for half of this movie because there's that scene somewhat early on where there's that couple, the older couple that are in their room, and the wife is like, this is, we've been on this boat before, and we've had this exact
Yeah.
same room, except there should be a porthole here, and there's not. And
Mhm.
she like goes through this elaborate thing, but like, yeah, in the nights I would open up the porthole during the day because it was too hot, and it would get breezy in the middle of the night. I'd wake up and close it because it got too cold. And our bed was right over there. Hubby, don't you remember that? He's like, yeah, I do remember that. Isn't that weird that there's no porthole here? There should be. And they let it go. And then come to find out is because it's not the same boat. It's made to look like that boat, but it's a great idea. As I was saying, I was really bored by all the conversations and the kind of like the fake momentum of this movie, but I love the story of it.
Mhm. Oh yeah, no, the concept and the story were interesting. Don't get me wrong. I mean, as much as I was taken aback by the scope, I loved that bit. I'm like, oh, okay, we've gone here. It's kind of like a fun pulp type novel to where you're reading it and suddenly, your detective is taking on a shitload of Nazis, which makes me wonder. I wonder if Dial of Destiny kind of stole, Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny kind of stole from this movie. No, just kidding.
It wish it had.
It wish it
Um,
had.
The one person that's seen this movie before we did. We ended up writing Dial of Destiny. But yeah, I remember also either right before or right after the scene that Ian's talking about, they were discussing how there's a different crew on this ship, and
Right.
why is that? That seems so strange. Well, they probably disembarked and they put a new crew on to send us back, and so yeah, there is that air of mystery. And this might be one of those movies where you hear people say it a lot, like instead of remaking great movies, remake bad movies that had like an interesting premise that just didn't fully pull it off. Not that like a movie like this. I mean, obviously, you're going to make it now. You're going to have to change it from the Red Scare to something else. But
well, not necessarily if you go by ISS standards. Anyway, we will talk about ISS. I did actually drop I apologize to everyone. I didn't drop my 1 minute review yet. I was still trying to put my words together Sunday, and then we had sports ball loss. So, but yeah, it was a good game still. But anyway, yeah, you're right. This could do with a remake because the concept and the story are very interesting. It's kind of catches you off guard from the way it starts because you're like wondering how all these pieces are going to go together. I love the mystery with the boat. The boat I think was really interesting because the film opens up with a boat blowing up and you see the lifesaver saying SS Banos, and then you see that same lifesaver later and you scratch your head a little bit going, was that was that in the head and now we're doing flashback or what? So
that was my initial thought.
That's what I thought too. And what I loved is that was brutal because there was a person in that life raft or the
water
life preserver, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the people, we don't really recognize them, but they're the crew is shooting at him with like automatic weapons. And the body the body kind of like falls through the hole, and then the rest of it just gets like, I don't know why it was so upsetting to me, but just to see that perfect like life preserver get the holes kind of popping up as it's riddled with bullets, it was really creepy, very intense, and it wasn't matched by anything else in the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder, like, because looking this up, it's made by Lincoln Productions. Probably didn't have a lot of money. Kind of makes me wonder, like, if it had been in the hands of, say, Warner Brothers, who put out like these great action movies at the time, and it would have ended up maybe in the hands of like a John Huston or something. If this could have been something really, really good, because the story is interesting, and there are moments like the opening of this film that are like, oh wow, this is genuinely interesting, and then it just gets bogged down in all the dialogue. There's still some decent stuff that happens in it, but it just never catches up to that pace from the first like 5 minutes.
I was also, I don't know if you guys had this experience. I got distracted. The guy Clegg, our weird henchman dude who's around for the first part of the movie. I kept thinking, I was doing the math in my head. It's 1953. Sleepaway Camp came out in 1983. I swear to God, I thought he was the old like head counselor guy, the perverted dude who got the arrow through the neck. They look like the same person 30 years removed.
They do
Oh.
kind of look the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I was waiting. It's not.
No.
Oh, you look.
I looked. I had nothing else to do. I was watching Captain Scarface. Of course, I looked it up. I made my shopping list, and no, no, it's not the same guy. But no, not.
Oh, you're blanking out there.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was me. Okay, it's Ian that's breaking up.
Ian was breaking up just a little bit.
Me.
At least he admits it. So
I'm looking through this guy's filmography. I've seen him in a few movies. I've seen High Plains Drifter. I've seen Maverick. I've seen How to Make a Monster. So I've seen him before, but he never stood out in anything to me. So,
well, a number of these folks had done westerns before. Yeah. So I mean, and we haven't talked about much about her because it is 50s and she's mostly there to, I don't know, be the threat for Captain Scarface to her dad, saying, if you don't arm the bomb, we're going to kill your daughter. Elsa, played by Virginia Gray, she's unfortunately just kind of there.
Yeah, we know what she's capable of. If you've seen like Samuel Fuller's Naked Kiss and that stuff, you've seen her in more fulfilling roles. But yeah, she's not given a lot to do here. She's just a damsel.
She really is just the damsel, unfortunately, and at times, if they didn't keep bringing her up, you'd almost forget she was there because she doesn't get a whole lot of screen time either. It's like, stay in your room. She's like constantly just stay in your room. You know, the old folks are walking around, but for them, nope, just stay in your room. And it's like, I'm not sure. I never understood I didn't understand having the other occupants on board, because outside of trying to maybe show the extra threat that they were going to blow these people up. But I thought he even mentioned at one point that, oh no, we're going to transfer them off the boat, but we're staying on the boat to blow up the nuke. And I'm just like, what? Why are these people here? For cover, I guess, but
or also for the purposes of having victims. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going to be a terrorist, you're going to have somebody that's a victim. You can't just kill yourselves and that's it.
Well, I mean, if they have a nuclear bomb, they're gonna take out some people, even if it's just along a canal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, it does feel just like kind of like a body count movie excuse. Like, we just have to people this movie. I mean, we're already stretching to get to an hour and 10 minutes. You know, we got to make sure we have enough people in here.
Well, let's not forget the banana and snake scene.
Oh, that was the
board.
Oh, I thought that was the 2007 version of Lady Scarface.
No, that's a different banana and snake scene.
Okay.
Than this banana and snake scene, where we have our elder Mrs. Diltz. That's her name, not Ditz. Diltz. Sorry, though she was a bit ditzy, but Diltz, who's carried around this. She's carried around this. I guess it's a
turtle
cookie jar with a turtle on its back, smiling. It's like, it's like, but she's carrying this thing around. She doesn't even leave it in her room. She's just carrying this thing around.
That she bought for $25 American in 1953. How much is that?
Like 10 grand.
That's something you get at the dollar store now.
Well, it was completely like thrift store. You know, it's like, what are you doing? Your grandkids, when you die, are going to donate.
Yeah, you know what? I just thought of that same thing. I'm like, that's one of those things that like your grandkids are going to have no idea you spent that kind of money on it. They're going to find it after you die and be like, give it to Goodwill. Someone will buy it for $1.
I thought, because she's carrying it around throughout the movie and they keep referencing it, I thought like inside was going to be like secret plans or a weapon or something. It was just too obvious a MacGuffin, but no, it's just a dumb
No, nothing.
ceramic turtle.
Just so you guys know, that turtle, that ceramic turtle she bought for back then, would the equivalent of $287.
No wonder the husband was pissed.
Yeah.
And again, welcome folks to the Spoiler Room, the money conversion show. Hope you enjoyed this because well, reviewing and watching these movies, it is curious, to see what that value is equivalent today, because it seems like a lot even for back then. And then you find out, oh yeah, no, she bought this ceramic turtle cookie jar for $277. That wasn't even worth $277.
It wouldn't be worth $25 now.
No.
No.
But she carries it around, and the reason I brought it up is she carries it around. And so what she does is she wants to get bananas from this huge, because they just piled the shitload of bananas on the boat. There's no cargo hold or anything for these, but they just have them sitting on deck at random, just this pile of bananas, and they're not even crates. It's just piled on deck, and I'm like, I don't think that's how they transported bananas, but whatever. So she goes up and she goes, I want some bananas. And the guy she's talking to just walks away like, yeah, whatever. So she starts digging through the bananas, and then they cut to this random snake in this bushel of bananas. And she's sticking the bananas in the turtle thing. And all of a sudden, of course, you hear the scream and the crash. There goes $277 right there. She got bit by the snake. To which our hero identifies immediately what snake it is. And that's what gives him away. I love, between his handling the machete and identifying the snake, that's how Perro knew he wasn't the real Crawl.
I was just expecting her to like pick out a banana and start uncovering the nuclear bomb or something, because I didn't.
Yeah.
The snake, it kind of comes out of nowhere. I thought she was gonna like take the wrong one out, and all of a sudden it collapses, and hey, look, there's a nuclear warhead. Made about as much sense as anything else in this movie.
Well, like how they hid the nuclear warhead. The captain, I love this. You can tell the folks making this just, they've read no books, because the captain takes the German scientist out, and first they got to move a shitload of stuff away from the secret compartment door to where the bomb is supposed to be. And they stick the German scientist in, and there's nothing but like radio panels lining I'm like, where's the bomb? We don't actually see a bomb ever. We just see these radio panels.
It's the theater of the mind, Mark. It's just off screen where we can't see it.
I was going to say, it's like every mad scientist set in the 40s. There's the buzzy thing. What does it do? I don't know. Put it there. It's a science lab. They got to have them somewhere. Beakers filled with God knows what. And there's always something going on. And what do they make?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they're mixing. They're just mixing stuff together. And
well, the scientist is supposed to be doing stuff too, but every time we cut back to him, when the captain gets him onto arming the bomb so they don't like dump his daughter overboard, he's just sitting in a chair. We never really see him working on anything. Every time the captain comes in the room, he's just sitting in a chair. And I'm just like, where's the bomb? Man, he's just taking a break? What? I mean, it couldn't cost that much to do a paper mache ball, for crying out loud. Little, I don't know.
They spent all their extra money on Leif Erikson and that turtle.
Yeah, the turtle and Leif Erikson, and
that turtle was actually $25. That's why they were like.
That's why you never actually see it broken, because that's not it actually broke it on it. They've got a fake one that they bought for $1 on the ground, and they still have the real one somewhere. But I mean, the whole purpose of having the couple on the boat is so she gets bit and dies. And so Sam identifies the snake and uses his machete to give him away that he's not Krull. It's like, that's their whole purpose in life, are these two. And then you got the old radio guy. Supposedly he's a radio guy. We don't know he's a radio guy at first either for a while until not Captain America is talking to him. And he's like, I tried to get to the radio room because I used to work radio, but I can't because it's always locked. And it's like, oh, you're a radio guy. Okay. Where'd that come from?
Pulled it out of their ass like everything else. It
was this. It's like, and it's called Captain Scarface because the captain has a scar on his face, and maybe they're cashing in on the Scarface name
from 21 years ago, though.
That's what caught me too, is why it was actually called that, because I'm like, that seems a bit of a distant stretch to put Scarface on there,
I have a theory that Rulers of the City was renamed Mr. Scarface for the home video release in the early 80s to cash in on the De Palma movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Because like we established when we were talking about that, the movie's not about Mr. Scarface.
Right.
And even after he dies, there's still another 20 minutes of movie afterwards. So that was definitely I don't understand either here why there was the Mr. the Captain Scarface name, because it doesn't really figure in.
Yeah, because it's not gangster related at all.
No,
it's not like they're smuggling dope in the banana boat, which would make more sense almost calling it Scarface. He's a freaking communist that's going to use his boat as a missile to destroy the Panama Canal. It just so many things. It's like, why Scarface?
Yeah, because he had a giant scar on his face, guys.
Well, thank you.
I gotta say, like the one of the drawbacks of this being in black and white is you see it intermittently. It's more evident, I think, later in the film. But if you look at the poster, like go to IMDb and look up Captain Scarface, it's got this great painted poster, and the grooves in his cheek are just so like
pronounced.
It's unpleasant to look at.
Yeah, his scar is really evident. It looks like a hook, like he's got all like Captain Ahab type look to him and shit.
Right. Like if that were the iconography of the film, because it's just a little bit too bright, like the makeup doesn't show up. But if it had been more evident, like every time you see him on screen, I think the name would have like really worked.
Yeah.
On the poster, he kind of looks like Jonathan Winters.
He does kind of Jonathan Winters type of look to him, for sure.
I want to see him. I want to see someone do a deep fake AI, put Jonathan Winters into Captain Scarface.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That'd be interesting.
There would have to be somebody out there who actually seen this movie.
We've seen this movie, so there you go. Wait. Oh, the big
James Mangold saw this movie. We established that because of the Dial of Destiny.
That's true.
Definitely. We're on to you, James.
You had that conflict between not Captain America and Dime Store Marlon Brando at the end. The fight between Sam and Captain Scarface, and this fight actually isn't too bad until you get how Sam takes care of Captain Scarface. He literally throws this machete. It has to be like a boomerang, because if you look at the way this is edited, they're fighting, they're fisticuffs. Sam tried to go after him with the machete, but it gets knocked out of his hand. Fighting, tumble, fight. Captain Scarface knocks Sam to the ground next to the machete, and then Captain starts heading down the hallway around the corner. Now, if you pay attention to where they are, Sam could not see Captain Scarface in real life, but he manages to grab said machete and throw it into the back of Captain Scarface. Though Scarface was headed down the hallway around the corner, I don't understand.
Sam's just that good. From Home Alone.
Huh?
It's like this. Oh, go ahead, Ian.
No, I was going to say Sam was just that good.
It's like the sled from Home Alone where he's coming down the stairs and you're like, there's no way he's going to make it out that door. Yet he does.
Yet he does. He angled it. He managed to angle it just
as he's coming off.
just as he's coming off, just as Sam did with this movie. You know, I'm with you. I would have loved to see a movie called Captain Scarface involving the captain not on his boat, but just like antics in the hotel. Like, you know,
there
Giant
you
mountain
go.
of cocaine.
There you go. Scarface Hotel. That's another movie.
Scarface Hotel. Now
Ooh,
you're talking.
Scarface Hotel.
I like that idea.
Let's get on this. Let's fundraise this thing. We can
It'd
write
be-
a script in 2 days.
It's Scarface Hotel. It'd be like the opposite of the Continental. It'd be like all the good, assassin guys with the Scarface Hotel is where all the drugs run through. You got drugs in every room. It's got,
So every motel in a 90s post Tarantino crime film. Every motel
pretty much.
of those.
They're
Right.
all Hotel Scarface.
Every one of them.
That's
I
right.
was watching something the other night. Oh God, it was called Boogie Boy, and I put it on because I thought it was just going to be like this trashy action movie, but it was like this post Tarantino-esque thing where it's a guy and his buddy drug deal gone wrong. They go out on the run. They end up at this motel where like there's this shady shit happening. I'm like, this is every 90s action movie after Pulp Fiction. Every one of them.
Was it actually a 90s movie or was it something?
It was 97.
Oh yeah.
We
So
put
there
it on
you go.
because Mark Dacascos was in it. We're like, oh, okay. When
Oh,
Mark Dacascos and Tracy Lords were like, oh my God, yeah, let's watch this. This is gonna be some shit. And it actually turned out it was not what we thought it was gonna be. We thought it was just gonna be like some weird action movie where like there's actually like some gay subtext between Mark Dacascos and another guy, and I'm like, wait a minute. Are we watching an actual attempt at making a movie? This wasn't by some cigar chomping guy who went, oh yeah, we got Mark Dacascos and Tracy Lords. Here's $2 million. You got 4 weeks. Go make it.
Give me 6 reels. I don't care what it is. I need 6 reels.
I already pre-sold it in
Germany.
I don't know. Yeah, Germany, whatever. I needed to think of some Eastern European country.
The
But I was
one
an actual attempt at making an indie movie, and I was like, wait a minute, this is shocking.
The one thing I kind of marveled at with the machete scene when Captain Scarface miraculously gets it in the back, we see it. Like it's not quite up to the hilt. There's a little bit of blade sticking out, but you realize just how deep this thing went into. It looked like something out of Friday the 13th. I was like, this is 1953. Wow.
Oh yeah. No, that machete got buried deep in his back when he's falling. You're like, oh, no, there's no question. He got cut.
And there's like a little bit of blood and everything. I just expected something a bit more tame, I guess. But yeah.
And then I just love how it's one of those things where you have that for many years, even through the 70s. I do kind of miss the just abrupt endings of movies. Yeah, like just the so abrupt endings. Like this film, it's like they kill Captain Scarface. Okay, radio, we gotta head to the soldiers. Next scene, soldiers are on deck already. Guys are pulled up. They're already like resolved things, and you're just like, wait, well, holy shit, that was quick.
Yeah.
You got Perro with his hands up and the Navy surrounding him, and you don't even know how it happened. It all happened off camera. You don't need to know.
You don't even know. You cut from Sam having killed Captain Scarface to, oh, the military's on board. Hey, all right, thank you for turning it in, and everybody just leaves and credits, and you're just like, oh, just like some of those films in the 70s, the crime films where it was like the cops are pulling up to the bad guy or whatever scene, and you pan out credits, and you're like, wait, what? it's over? What?
Well, because Captain Scarface is dead. The movie dies with him.
Well, yeah, I guess the movie.
It's a weird thing when you're not used to watching like these older movies, because you'll be watching it, you'll be like, wait a minute, there's a lot still going on, and it hasn't started wrapping up yet. But this movie's only 65 minutes long. And we're 60 minutes in. When is this going to start resolving? Oh, okay, he got shot.
We're done.
That's it. It's over.
It's just like those 50s sci-fi films that would just end. It would be like aliens dead. Oh, Looks like humans win after all. Dun, 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 dun. And you're like, wait, you got the spaceship yet there. You got these guys. Nope. Done. We're good. Cut. Print. Perfect. Let's go.
We just needed to make it to 70 minutes, guys. We didn't need anything beyond that. Once we get to 70 minutes, we're done. What's this 85-minute shit? We're not going for an Oscar.
I just need a B movie. I need a literal B movie for the second hour. That's
literally what these movies were made for.
Yeah.
They're made to be the second supporting feature for some bigger movie. That's
what this was. This was the
that.
second,
Yeah, this was definitely that.
This was the second feature. They showed some big name movie. You have your little shorts. Let's all go to the lobby, and then newsreel, and then Captain Scarface. But you paid your dime. Fuck, you're gonna stay there for the whole damn thing.
Well, the purpose is they don't think anybody's paying attention at that point.
Right.
That's why the second feature, the B movie, never really mattered, because you're either drunk and passed out, making out with your girlfriend, whatever other thing you could be doing. That's it. You're not paying attention to this movie, which is why all these movies always had like very simple plots, because they're expecting by this point you're making out with your girlfriend, and then you might occasionally come up for air, and the story's easy enough to follow. Although this one wasn't. This one was not easy to follow, but a lot of times that's all they were meant to be.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, Clegg, kiss, kiss, kiss. Wait, what happened to Clegg? Where'd Clegg go? We literally spend so much time with Clegg. You think he's going to play more into the role, and he just gets shot in the back by Manuel, of all people.
While he's escaping over a wall, that's it.
Yeah. But never mind the fact that Krull, who was supposed to be this guy who the captains worked with before. I mean, you already know the minute Captain is talking to Clegg and say, I don't have your money, Krull does. You're like, if I was Clegg, I just say, I'm out the money and go have a beer, because if you tell me you don't have the money, I've got to go talk to this guy who you've never met in a hotel room to get my money. I'm like, yeah, I that's not fishy at all. And then he shows up, and this guy who manages to be able to sneak a German scientist from the Russians, because he was in a Russian prison. Okay. He manages that, but he pulls out the worst assassination attempt on Clegg ever. Clegg's got the gun on him, and he's like, well, the money's in my pocket, in there. And so Clegg is like already suspicious of the guy. He got the jump on him. So he goes to get the money. And this guy, instead of shooting from his pocket, he's like pulling his wallet out. Only it's the gun, but he's pulling it out, and he's so slow with it. And of course, Clegg catches it because he suspects this guy anyway. I'm just like, really? This is the guy the captains worked with before?
Well, I gotta say though, Clegg was kind of a badass when he shot that guy, because he was pumping him, he was airing him completely out. It was great.
Well, Clegg gets the best line out of this entire movie. He gets that wonderful line where what is it? I've got it right here. I got to know. Oh, give me the money, or I'll keep pulling the trigger until you are so heavy you can't stand up. I love that line. I wrote it down because that was the best line out of the whole movie. I'm like, I want Clegg to live. I wanted him to live because
he was the most interesting character in the beginning, and you thought he would be there at the end, because it's like, okay, he's gonna be the real right hand man henchman, and no, he's not. He's dead in 20 minutes.
Man, could you imagine if it was a story where Clegg shoots Krull and he hides from Sam, who takes Krull's ID and gets on the boat? Then Clegg sneaks on the boat. So you've got Clegg on the boat who wants some revenge on the captain. You got Sam on the boat posing as, Krull. And then Clegg uses that card, hey, I know this guy, Sam, this guy isn't who he says he is, You
just came up with a more interesting movie.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to need, the nuclear blow up Panama Canal thing.
It's not necessary.
You could just have Clegg turning in this guy and then just have them be like dope smugglers or something. That's what Krull, that's what he helps smuggle people. So Krull could easily just be the smuggler guy that's got the connections, and you wouldn't necessarily need to take it to a whole communist, let's cripple the world by blowing up the Panama Canal angle.
You just took bits of this movie and created the story for a more interesting movie. Like, I could literally run with that screenplay and be like, "Oh my god, that's actually kind of a cool idea for an action movie." That actually is.
Yeah, and you could even keep your supporting older passengers in there as well. Then it'd make a little more sense because you're posing as a ferry for the people, getting them from point A to point B, when actually you're smuggling drugs. You don't have to be, we are going to blow up the Panama Canal and cripple capitalism. And it's like,
well, I mean,
you could have that old couple get themselves in trouble by finding out something that they shouldn't find out, and they were going to make it off alive, but now you know this, so now you have to die, and that could be your big emotional moment, like 45 to 55 minutes in, where people are like, "Oh my god, now I want these bad guys to die."
Yeah, and you already got a cool shot to where she's holding the turtle and she's with her husband. Bad guy comes in because we're going to have the turtle statue. Bad guy comes in saying, "I'm sorry you had to see that." Bang, bang. It happens off screen, but you just see the turtle thing smash to the ground.
Yes.
And then her hand lands on one of the pieces. Boom. Then you cut to the next. Look at that, huh? Right there.
Or you have the husband dive in front of the bullets that are going for the turtle because he spent $25 American and 53 on it.
He dives to. You think he's going to rescue his wife, and he actually doesn't want the turtle statue to smash.
I just spent the equivalent of $300 on that turtle, and you gotta save it.
But see, when we get movies like this, we always seem to write better movies than the spoiler room.
And you can keep your budget low because you can keep the whole thing on a ship.
Yeah, you still keep it on the ship. I mean, it could literally almost do the same beats it does here. It's just you end up not having the nuclear part. You end up, working Clegg into the mix more, because he was the most interesting character. I thought he was good. I didn't expect him to be a little bit more. I thought he was going to get like offed right away, but we spend so much time with him. I'm like, no, I want more of this guy.
Yeah.
But no, we don't. We get not Captain America. Like, yeah, I took a bullet, but it's okay. We popped it out. That's all right. That's a problem. To which is hilarious because he's only been on the boat like a day and he doesn't bleed much, apparently. He either cauterized the wound or whatever. But when Perro finally sniffs him out and they sit there and he talks about, they pull the bandage off. He goes, "Oh, you heal very quickly." And I'm like, what are you talking about? He just got shot like a day ago. What do you mean he heals quickly?
Also, that line about you shot a man tonight. Oh, it was only in the leg. It sounds like such a Monty Python line. Just in the leg, he'll be fine.
Well, he's such a toss-up. Oh, well, no, he'll survive. Only in the leg. It's only a flesh wound. Meanwhile, this guy's running around with a hole in his arm from the bullet he took from the guy, but he's just like, "Oh, no, I'm fine. I shook it off because, I'm a Viking.
I'm a man.
I'm a man. Haha."
He's got that super soldier serum in him. Yeah.
He's got the super soldier serum. That's right. He was the original Captain America. There you go. Right? That's what he was doing on the plantation, which was another line. That was a hilarious line. So what gives our guy away, Sam, is not only his machete prowess, his ability to identify snakes, but then they look at him and they go, "Come to think of it, you do look a little brown." And it's black and white, and there is no tan on this man whatsoever. But they're like, you do look a bit brown. And I'm like, what's that got to do with anything? Well, he worked out in the field, so he tanned. I'm like, I guess, but maybe if he's just a fitness nut and he likes to work out in the sun. I mean, come on. he did have the physique for it, so he could just be a fitness nut. But no, nope.
Well,
You
yeah,
don't-
but fitness nuts weren't really a thing back in the 1950s. It was just, people were athletic, but they weren't like crazy working out like they are now.
yeah, I guess it's true. I don't know, but yeah. So Captain Scarface, folks. Unfortunately, we had such a great run with our Scarface films, and I started watching Lady Scarface because I thought it was going to be for this week, and then I realized, oh no, it's Captain Scarface. But what I saw of Lady Scarface is already better than what we had for Captain Scarface.
Is it a return to form? Is it like an actual crime picture?
Yes,
It is a
Okay,
crime movie. I
cool.
haven't seen it yet either, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's a crime picture, and just from like the 15 minutes I watched of the hour some minutes that it was, I was already like, oh, this is a fun movie. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this one. Because there's a little bit of misdirection, there's some fun dialogue, but it's definitely a crime heist film involving gangsters and such.
Nice.
So
All right.
Anybody I know in that? I'm wondering about that. Because actually, the guy that played Perro, I was like, where have I seen this guy before? And I realized he was in. He had a prominent role in House of Frankenstein. Let me see, Lady Scarface. I'm going to see if there's anybody in here that I'm familiar with.
You got Dennis O'Keefe and Judith Anderson, who's in here.
Oh, Mark Lawrence is in it. He's been in a lot of stuff. So yeah, it'll be.
So there's some. If you see their faces, they're fairly recognizable. But yeah, just from the bit that I watched of Lady Scarface, that one I think will be a better experience for my guests than Captain Scarface, which. Captain Scarface you could watch. It's not like it's so awful you can't watch it, but it's not, especially compared to the other films we've watched, the other three films we watched. It's not great.
Yeah, well, they can't all be winners, and maybe this will
no.
make us appreciate Lady Scarface even more.
That could be.
Hopefully, well, now you at least got a bar. You got a comparison. See, you got an upper bar last 2 weeks ago with the original Scarface from 31, and now we've got our 53 Scarface, and then in between there we've got the 40s Lady Scarface. So that's going to be next week, folks. Hope you enjoyed this conversation about Captain Scarface, and maybe it'll make you curious to watch it. Just to see some good old fashioned Cold War propaganda written film to where the whole point is communism's bad and they want to nuke us all. So there you go. I want to thank my guests. Thanks to our folks who tuned into our stream tonight, our live stream. As always, we are live streaming these, folks, if you're listening to this on the podcast channel. So if you're ever curious, we are here Monday nights. And yeah, now's the time for I give my wonderful, patient, and far knowledgeable crew members the license to shill. So Joe, please, the license to shill is yours.
This week I'll be doing a couple episodes of the Literary License podcast. Our next one is going to be covering the Iron Giant and Monster House, and the one after that we're going to be doing Sin City and Southbound.
Oh my God, that's a great lineup.
Yeah, so these are going to be fun. Yeah, besides that, there's nothing really to show right now. That's it for the moment, at least.
Iron Giant, man. I tell you, Iron Giant. Bluth is up and down with me, but Iron Giant, because that was Bluth, wasn't it?
No, it was Brad Bird, actually.
Bird. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Brad Bird.
Oh, Brad Bird. That was Brad Bird. Sorry. I think
that's where he got the name for the Bad. Is it Bad Robot, his production company?
Yeah, that's Bad Robot. Yeah.
I think
JJ.
that's JJ Abrams. Never mind.
Yeah.
We're all mixed up tonight, but that's okay. That's all right. It happens. We're human. At least my two crew members are human. I have no idea what I am. But in any case, so yes, check it out. Literary License Podcast, a fun podcast to listen to. And Mr. Ian Simmons, I know you got some things to shill, so please shill away.
I'm Ian Simmons. I run Kicking the Seat, which you can find at kickseat.com, and on YouTube. If you look up Kicking the Seat, I will be there. Got interviews and reviews and live streams and all sorts of fun stuff. I'm currently at the very beginning of Hell Week. Lots of stuff going on that will pay off pretty soon, I hope, I think. And yeah, if you want to come check it out, see what's all going on, then what all is going on, I promise I speak better when I'm running on more sleep, which is never. So I guess I just lied. Yeah, come check me out.
Robin in Woods there. No, just kidding. It's one of my favorite parts of it's one of my favorite parts of Men in Tights is just the backwards talking sheriff. Dear Woods dead, Robin in the And here on specialmarkproductions.com for all your movie man needs, where you can catch past episodes of the Spoiler Room if you don't have us on your favorite podcast feed, which you should, folks, because we got a lot of great stuff coming next month. Yes, is the Solid Alibi month, which we're going to look at films that have the word alibi in it, that deal with alibis. So that should be interesting. Definitely not in my normal wheelhouse, so should be exciting. And if you missed it, I have 2 interviews that dropped on the podcast channel, and the videos will be up on YouTube this week. One, I had an interview with the director of a new movie starring Antonio Banderas called Cult Killer. And that stars Antonio Banderas and Alice Eve, who a lot of people may remember from Star Trek Into the Darkness. She was Carol Marcus, the one who got down to her skivvies, and everybody was like, we can't have that in Star Trek. And then I'm just like, you're Star Trek geeks. Yes, you can. Yes. Did you see the dresses in the 66? Anyway, John Keyes is the director that I talked to. He also did a number of other indie films. So, and then I also talked to the director and 2 of the stars of a slasher film called Scalper. We talked to him before, Chad Farron. We got a chance to talk to him again, along with his the 2 co-stars of the film, which is Kate Patel and Susan Priver. And those interviews are up, and those were a lot of fun to talk about the slasher film. This week, I will have 2 more interviews coming up. One with an actor named Timothy Cox, who we've reviewed a number of his films on our channel over the years, Timothy J. Cox. And I'm talking to special effects artist Joe Castro. So that should be a lot of fun. So check out those folks. And now I will stop babbling. And until next time, yes, next week is Lady Scarface. So we'll just say a good night, everyone.
Good night.